guys, so today I'm going to show you an extremely cool looking trick, and this is what it looks like. So for this trick we need 4 cards. We need the King of Diamonds, the King of Hearts, the King of Spades, and the King of Clubs. The red kings and the black kings. As you guys can see, the rest of the deck is completely shuffled. We can give it a bit of a mix, but I will need 2 spectators to help me out in this trick. So let's have spectator number 1 call out stop at any card in the middle. Let's say they say stop right over here. So is this okay? Let's take a look at the card you selected. Over here we have the Jack of Hearts. And since you are the first spectator to select a card, you also have the ability to choose whether the red kings or the black kings hold onto your selection. Let's say they want the black kings to hold onto their selection. So we have these 2 black kings will hold on to the Jack of Hearts, and that is the King of Spades and the King of Clubs. These cards will hold on to that Jack of Hearts. And now I would actually like spectator number 2 to hold on to these cards. We will place these inside of the box and hand these over to spectator number 2. And now spectator number 2 has still not selected a card yet. However, that is exactly what we're going to do next. So we'll give the deck a bit of a mix. And now spectator number 2 will have the exact same procedure to select a card. They can say stop at any point. Let's say they call out stop right over here, a little bit later in the deck, doesn't matter. Let's say we have the 8 of spades for spectator number 2. Now we're gonna take the 8 of spades and place these in between the red kings, and I would actually like spectator number 1 to hold on to these cards in their hand, and then we will proceed with the magic. Okay, so now technically, you are holding on to each other's cards, right? Spectator number 1 is holding on to spectator number 2, and spectator number 2 is holding on to spectator number 1's card. But obviously, instead of just switching the kings around, we can use magic. So if I just snap, and I just snap, now spectator number 1 should be holding onto their correct card, which is the Jack of Hearts, and spectator number 2, with the cards inside of the box, should be holding onto their correct card, which is the 8 of spades. And of course, everything can be examined. And that right there is the trick. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and if you want to learn how it's done, be sure to stick around for the tutorial. Alright guys, so here's the tutorial for the trick you just saw. I really like this trick a lot. I'm very proud of the handling. I think it flows very smoothly and looks very deceptive. So here's what you're going to need to perform the trick. You will need a normal deck of cards with 4 kings, and you will also need 2 special cards, and these 2 cards are simply duplicate cards. So I have 2 8 of spades in this deck. These cards will start on top of the deck, and then the 4 kings with the colors separated will go on top, just like that. And now you're ready to perform the trick. So to start the trick, you're going to take the 4 kings and place them on the table and place them down in their respective pairs. And now you can show the spectator the shuffled deck, and just be sure to not spread all the way to the end to flash that duplicate card. And then you're going to give it a little shuffle yourself, and you're simply going to move the 2 duplicate cards to the bottom by using an overhand shuffle, by shuffling the 2 cards singly and then shuffling the rest of the deck on top, just like this. And once those 2 cards are on the bottom of the deck, you can now have spectator number 1 select any card by taking little piles of cards and dropping them on the table. Now this is simulating a psychological timing force, which you are actually not performing right now, but you will be performing for the other spectator when you need to force the duplicate card. But this first selection is a completely free choice. But in order to keep the selection process consistent, that's why I'm still going to perform it the same way that I would with the other spectator. So this is not a force. This spectator can truly say stop at any point. And now what you're going to do is you're going to flip over the top card and show them what they selected, in this case the Jack of Diamonds. However, instead of just flipping it over willy-nilly like this, I like to flip over the card like I would a double lift. And this is more for magicians, but it's very deceptive when I'm flipping over a single card like I would flip over a double. And now what I'm going to do is flip the single card back over the same way that I would flip over a double and simply place the card on the table. If a magician is watching, they might have thought that I have already switched out the card when that is not the case. So I've already fooled you a little bit. Now all you need to do is take the 2 bottom cards and control them to the top. And you do this by dropping little piles of cards continuously on the deck until you see 2 cards like this, and then you're going to drop those 2 cards on top. So now you've controlled your duplicates on top of the deck. The spectator can truly choose whether they want the red or the black kings to be used, and whichever ones they choose, you're going to take the first one and place it on top of the deck, and you're going to get a pinky break right below that top card before you place that king on top. So now you will already have a break on that duplicate card. And then what you're going to do is take the other king, and you're going to scoop up the selection like this, and you're going to show the selection one more time before you place it in between the kings like this. And then you're going to square up the cards, and now you're going to perform an Ed Marlo move called the simulated pickup, where you are picking up all 4 cards like this, and you are essentially going to be switching around these 2 face down cards. By counting the king of spades, holding a break, you're going to come back to peel off the next card, but you're going to pick up the king before you do it. Pick up the king and now peel off this card. And now you're going to take these 3 cards in your hand and simply place those on top. And now you can spread these off freely. And it looks like you've just counted the kings in reverse order. However, you've now switched the cards around so that the 8 of spades is in between. I will do this one more time. But essentially, you start in this position with the 4 cards. You have a break on all 4. You're going to pick up all 4. Peel off the first king, catch a break, pick the king back up before you take the second card. And now you can let go of the break and then take these 3 cards and drop those on top. And now you can spread these cards off and show the card is sandwiched in between. Just make sure not to flip it over. And these cards can go in spectator number 2's hand or their pocket or the box or wherever, but spectator number 2 will be holding onto these cards. You will say that spectator number 2 has not actually selected their own card yet. So now what you're going to do to simulate the exact same process of spectator number 1's selection, you're going to do the exact same thing by giving the cards an overhand shuffle before you begin, and you're simply going to be controlling these cards into the middle of the deck. So I shuffle about half the deck like this. I'm going to in-jog the next card, and then I'm going to continue shuffling the cards on top of the deck. And this, of course, simulates the initial overhand shuffle that I did in the beginning of the trick. But now I am actually getting ready for a force, because I'm now going to pick up on that in-jogged card, just lift up and then push in like this. And that will create enough space to get my pinky in there like that. And now I'm holding a pinky break right above the selection and the duplicate card. So now I'm actually going to perform a psychological timing force. And if you don't know how to perform this force, I have an entire long form video dedicated on how to do this force. So if you don't know how to do it, please refer to that video. But essentially you're going to time it correctly so that the spectator will say stop right at your pinky break. So right over here, my pinky break has the selection and the duplicate card. And now I'm actually going to do a double lift. So before I was doing only one single card, but now I'm actually going to flip over 2 cards, which is a double lift. So here's the 8 of spades, supposedly right here. And now I'm going to flip these 2 cards back over, and I'm going to place the top card in between the other kings like this. And now I'm going to pick these up and give these over to spectator number 1. And at the same time, as I'm handing these cards over to spectator number 1, I am simultaneously going to be ditching this card in my lap if I'm seated at a table. As I'm handing these cards over to the spectator, and as they're fumbling and holding onto the cards, you can sort of lean forward to hand these over to the spectator. And as you come back, you can very casually take your left hand and bring it near the edge of the table and simply use your thumb to peel off that card and let it fall off the edge of the table. So you're simply just letting that card fall off the edge of the table, and now that card will be in your lap. So now what you can do is shuffle these cards on top, and now everything is completely examinable. So now you state that the spectators are holding selections, but they're technically in the wrong hands. So in order to correct this, you're just going to switch them over like that. This spectator should be holding the correct card. That's spectator number 1's card. And spectator number 2 should impossibly be holding the other card that they just saw placed over here. It really doesn't make any sense for them. And now if the spectator wanted to look through the deck, they can totally look through the entire deck if they wanted, and everything is completely examinable because that duplicate card is in your lap. And yeah, that is the tutorial for this trick. I think it's a super, super deceptive little trick. I think it just feels very natural and everything is very consistent, and that helps to hide most of the method. So yeah, anyways, I really hope you guys enjoy this trick, and if you want to perform it, let me know how it goes in the comments below. And yeah, see you guys for the next one. Bye.